Okay, everyone, this is the East Coast Economic Update for January the 27th, 2009. I'm sliding this back so I can make it myself fit into the screen. A couple of issues. I'm going to start with some personal issues. A few of the other small businesses in which I live we have a block of 7 stores on I wouldn't even call it a mall, really. It's just a city block, and there's all these small little mom and pop stores all along, mine included, and a few of the other business owners have approached me in approaching the landlord to either abate or lower our rents. I'll keep you advised of that. I think that's more or less a real-life ground zero event as far as the commercial real estate market starts to collapse. I have a number of different businesses in my area, one of them being a catering, me being a sporting goods store, and a few others, and a liquor store. And we are obviously feeling the pinch. Today was a bad day. We had a lot of snow and rain in our area, and a lot of people failed to come out. In our area, there's a lot of elderly people, and a lot of them patronize both my business and a number of the other businesses on the street, and there was none today. In other news, I just wanted to point out to you, I will probably put it over here, Brandeis University, one of the first liberal arts universities that was Jewish, or primarily for Jewish people, decided today to sell their artwork in their museum and close down the museum, partially because of the Madoff situation. They lost a lot of money. We're going to start to see a lot of this, a lot of people selling everything they have, regardless of the size of their institution or home. It's very close to the Great Depression situation. Why did I bring this up? Because a university which supplies a lot of grants and scholarships for students that are underprivileged has to sell artwork, and does it without much thought of or discussion of anything except to the salvation of their university. And on the cover of the Financial Times, we have the Treasury Department requesting, well, actually pushing Citigroup to cancel its Learjet and private jet orders. Okay, my mouth is open. These idiots still have no idea that there's anything wrong with this. Thane's $1.2 million redo of his office after a massive collapse and begging for the federal government to give him almost $63 million, $1 billion, sorry, is out of control. Also, I'm going to put over here the H.R. 1, I believe it is, the stimulus package that Barack Obama has put in it. You can skim over it. It's a very lengthy book. But more importantly, out of all this 815, which will be probably $855 billion that is going to be reaching Senate and probably being signed by the president by Friday, only 77 million, that's with an M, not a B, are going to go to small businesses for grants and loans. So out of $855 billion, less than 1/10 of 1% of it is going to go to guys like me and you, and to help each other, to stimulate the economy. The rest of it is going to extend unemployment benefits to 9 months from 6, which they've already extended to 12 months, so they're going to extend an additional 9 months. It'll be interesting how they're going to do that math. And mostly other government-regulated jobs. There was a guy named Mosley. You may have known he had made many famous statements about logistics and so forth. One of his famous statements that most people know is, if all you have is a hammer, everything starts looking like nails. Well, the one that's least or less known is, if you have a program or a logistical flow chart, and you can't explain it to a 5-year-old, and that 5-year-old makes sense of it, then it is nonsense. It does not make any sense that you're going to try to stimulate the economy by creating jobs within the government, when the government needs to have income, and that income comes from taxes, and most of those taxes come from people like you and me, who own their own businesses, who work for large private corporations, and so forth. it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense if you tell it to a 5-year-old. Hell, it doesn't make sense if you tell it to a 41-year-old like myself. More interestingly is that with the Federal Reserve also deciding not to raise interest rates because they have nowhere else to go but up, they're going to just pump more money into the system, as a side note, to generate what is considered a deflationary situation. I'm here to tell you that the geniuses at the Federal Reserve, at me being a uneconomist, like an uncola, I guess I'm the 7-up of economy, and many of you are in my group. The only way, let me back up. The Federal Reserve is threatening, not actually doing it. That's one of the problems that a lot of financial advisors are upset about, threatening to buy treasuries and other bonds and toxic assets. For them to do that, they need to get money from somewhere. Yes, they have a printing press, but that money having value has to come from somebody else, primarily from China, Japan, Middle East. All these countries have unilaterally, from what the World Trade Organization, the WTO states, and the IMF, they're indicating that the markets in those countries are in recession now. Now, if China is in recession and they go into negative, they're not buying, and I tell you right now, they're not buying it now. They're not buying our bonds. They're not buying our short-term treasuries. They ain't hell going to be buying our 30-year bonds either. For that feedback loop to kick in, two things have to happen, just like what's happening on the stock market. Remember when we were talking about the PPT, when at 2 o'clock in the afternoon it went up, and at 3 o'clock it went down. The same thing's happening with the treasuries. Even though they're saying that they're not buying treasuries, they must be buying treasuries. The numbers keep dropping. That means that more people are coming into these bond markets, and the prices are rising. The bond market rises by the price lowering. It's going to hit, the 10-year bond is going to hit below 2%. It had already once, but I think it's going to hit about 1.85, like I said in my couple of earlier videos, and the 2-year is going to probably go below 1% to probably 0.65, 0.85. The other thing that really is driving me nuts is the Barack Obama, as part of this whole plan, is that he's going to declare the FDIC in charge of the bad bank system. Now, this goes back to Mosley's Law of a 5-year-old. If you have stuff that is worthless, let's say I have $20,000 worth of credit cards, so credit card debt, and I give it to you, you're the FDIC, and I sign those debts over to you. Now you have $20,000 in credit card debt. Somehow, what it explained to us is that they're going to fence in these bad debts and thereby loosening up credit. Now, if I was you or you were me, and I gave you that $20,000 worth of debt, and you're now owning that $20,000 debt, you're in debt for $20,000, and I'm not. Do you think I'm going to take out more debt? Probably not. So they think that they're going to bring this out into a public market and get a fair dollar for it. If that was possible, this goes back to my 5-year-old explanation, then Citigroup, Lehman Brothers, and all the rest of them would have thrown it out into the open market and people would have bought it. In short, people are dancing around, looking busy, like all good federal employees do, and they think that they're going to, by doing this, make people feel better. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know, I know, this is not going to happen. And by June of this year, this house of cards is going to fall on itself. The only way Barack Obama is going to save his own behind and this government and this country is if he gives loans to people like you and me to start businesses, furniture businesses, things that we could sell back to other countries. Until Washington, until our local governments figure this out, we're going to keep sliding down this slippery slope into the sewage pit that we are in now and continue to stay there until further notice. The only way we can get out is if we build our way out, make things our way out, and sell it back to China and make a profit. And that is that. No other way. A 5-year-old can understand it. You can understand it. I understand it. Until next time, peace.